Act assented to by Mr. President in February. Now, our Federal High Court sitting in Umuahia has declared Section 8412 of the amended Electoral Act as invalid, illegal, and unconstitutional. In her ruling, Justice Evelyn Anyadike ordered the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, to delete the said section from the amended Electoral Act. Jide, true, we haven't heard the rest. The last word has not been heard regarding this matter.
That's true. And remember, the president tried his best to have the National Assembly expunge that section because he felt that his staff, his members of his cabinet, were being targeted. So he wanted that portion expunged, and he went ahead to sign the Electoral Act, believing that afterwards the National Assembly will remove that portion. But in an overwhelming voice vote last week, the Senate refused to go back to the Electoral Act. Of course, there was even a court matter that came up trying to stop the National Assembly from revisiting the matter of the electoral bill after it was signed into law by the president. So in the end, the Senate refused to go back, meaning that they refused to do what the president demanded of them. Now, the people concerned have had to go to court to secure what they couldn't secure through the National Assembly by having the court affirm that the law was, that portion of the electoral
8412,
yes, was in contravention of the fundamental human rights of the people concerned. So there are many of them in the Buhari administration who want to contest, but they want to hold on to their current positions before contesting. In fact, the Attorney General boasted that he would hold on to his post to the very end, and I'm not sure that he has given up his ambition to contest for the governorship of Kebbi State, even though he comes from the same ward as the current governor.
Well, but you know, politics will not look at things like that. BC, you know, the offensive provision is something I want to share with you. It says, inter alia, no political appointee at any level shall be a voting delegate or be voted for at the convention or congress of any party for the purpose of the nomination of candidates for any election, end vote. And so it's a matter of interpretation.
Well, it's a matter of interpretation, but also it's obviously political. It's obviously political, and it will appear as if it's targeting some people. Because why are we talking about as a delegate to be voted for or not to be voted for? When you look at it critically, you will observe that some people are being considered to, maybe considered to be competing with certain people for certain position in some ways. And probably a way of stopping them is by injecting this into the Constitution. But at the same time, I also know that in states, for example, governors usually tell their commissioners to resign if they have political ambition.
It's a constitutional provision.
So I now wonder the difference between this
and what the Constitution
says. So is it because this is talking specifically about being delegates or what is the difference? Because that word delegates is very critical. And you know the importance of delegates in choosing flag bearers and positions, national positions in parties and all of that. So that delegates makes this one look so strange.
Jide, as I said, it's a matter of interpretation. Don't you see anybody challenging this decision?
Or the court?
Yeah. I know the case has been adjourned to the 30th.
Yes, it's that's the APC matter that's postponed.
That's it.
Not this one. The judge has given his ruling on this one. Well, some people may challenge it, but the problem is where a portion of an act contravenes the provisions of the Constitution. The Constitution takes preeminence. So it's very predictable what will happen in the final analysis. As long as they continue to point at the relevant sections of the Constitution, it will override whatever is in the Electoral Act. No provision of the Electoral Act or any body of laws can be greater than
the ground norm.
Yes, which is the Constitution, which is our Constitution. So lawyers will always side down. Remember, the president also says, see, this thing will infringe on the rights of the people concerned as prescribed by the Constitution. So it's early days, but
all right.
I know we've not had the last.
We have not, but again, the debate might continue. But remember the biblical text. What I have written for the moment. All right, we take you to this one now. A mild drama unfolded at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos at about 8:30 on Thursday between the outgone governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, and officials of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The former governor was prevented from traveling to Houston, Texas in the United States. EFCC spokesman Wilson Wujare, who confirmed the arrest, said the former helmsman was on their watch list. The almighty immunity shield over the strong man is no more, BC.
Yeah, I think before now, it was reported that the ex-governor was on the watch list of EFCC, but some of its aides, denied and said, no, it's not like that. Now we can now see that, well, the man is actually on the watch list, and it's so interesting that he was aware that he was on the watch list, and he still made that attempt to leave the country at about 8:30 p.m. on the day he handed over to the next governor.
You are suggesting he shouldn't have brought in...
I am saying that he shouldn't have rushed to leave the country like that. But anyway, knowing that he's already on the watch list, well, maybe he wants to escape for his life in any case, which is not bad. But I also want to commend the EFCC for doing his job and for preventing him from traveling out of the country. You see, he cannot be adjudged to be guilty of an offense when he has not been tried and convicted for any misdemeanor or any crime. However, I think for public office holders, if you know that there is something against you and you are confident that you are innocent, then you should make yourself available to face the court.
Is it easy?
Well, I think because it's not going to be easy for the guilty. I suppose. But if you know that you don't really have skeleton in your cupboard, you should be able to face whatever and defend your actions.
Because it's like saying, asking the question an SSS 3 student would ask, how many of these governors are not on the watch list?
Well, that's the question that only the FCC
can answer.
Because I've not seen their watch list to know who to leave out. But you know, this former governor announced some months back, I think the days leading to the last governorship election in the state, that he will not spend a day longer in Nigeria. Once he's out of office, he's gone. So, having let the cat out of the bag by making that pronouncement, the EFCC knew that, look, this fellow, if he found a way to leave, he may never even return to Nigeria. Because I was wondering what will make a man make that announcement or make that remark that, look, I will not spend a day longer in the country once I'm out of office. Where are you running to? You stayed here, you were governor here for 8 years. You were a banker here for years. But having been governor for 8 years, you don't even want to spend one more day.
Maybe retirement is not sweet inside, but sweeter outside. I don't know.
He's the only one who can explain why he's running when nobody is chasing him. You should normally not live like that. Look at Fayose. DFC boasted that, look, Fayose, don't attempt to run. If you try to go by sea, we will catch you. If you did, by himself, he went to them. He said, arrest me.
I don't come.
Arrest me, see me here. He even made a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And went to the EFCC headquarters. He said, see me, Oshoko is here. Arrest me now. You are boasting. Okay, now I surrendered myself to you. And they put him in custody. After a few days, he was allowed to go.
And today is seemingly a free man.
His case is still on. In fact, the reason we have not come to judgment on this matter can be blamed on the EFCC, because it was the EFCC who asked for a different judge.
That's it.
After more than 10 witnesses had testified. So by now we will have known whether Fayose will be jailed or not. If not, because the EFCC demanded for the removal of the judge handling the case. You remember that stubborn judge, you know, the woman. And then after that, the case now started fresh. After the removal of the judge. That's why his own matter is still on.
Makes you wonder if we are really honest about fighting corruption frontally.
Well, the battle against corruption is a battle that everybody must be involved in. The judges too have to help.
Yeah.
Some of the pronouncements are not helping us.
But this is not to say the battle is not winnable.
Of course, it's winnable if we all focus on winning the battle. It's not for the EFCC alone. The EFCC can only try its best. The ICPC can only try its best. Everyone must come in. If judges are allowing frivolous applications and all that by lawyers to corrupt people who can afford the most expensive sounds, then how do we then win?
BC, you know, in this connection, I'm reminded of one book written by the DG of the World Trade Organization. What's her name? Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. She wrote, "Fighting Corruption is Dangerous." I don't come out my hand, you know. All right, so we go to the next story. You know, let's tell you that in our rugged history, women or female criminals had never stolen the headlines. But in contemporary Nigeria, where anything or everything is possible, female criminals and gangsters are raising national adrenaline. A female crime suspect, 38-year-old Mvo Michael, I hope I got that right, was paraded in Abuja by the police on Thursday. The Plateau State-born Mrs. Michael, a notorious gun runner, was nabbed along the Saminaka-Jos Road with 15 rifles and 400 rounds of ammunition. Mvo confessed to supplying arms and ammunition to terrorists in Nigeria's northwest and north central. Elsewhere, terrorists have kidnapped 46 persons in the Kachia local government area of Kaduna State on Thursday. The battle is on.
People need to know the extent of culpability of women.
Yeah.
Crime knows no barriers, no gender. As Two-Face sang, nobody holy pass. Women no holy pass. Men no holy pass. In Kano, I witnessed the execution by firing squad of a woman for the first time, and that's the only time that I think that happened in the history of our country. A woman tied to the stakes, yes, along with her son, and fired for robbery. That was in Kano in the mid 90s. I did a story for Tempo on that occasion. So even the bandits operating in the northwest, many women had been arrested, funneling petrol to them because they need petrol desperately
to move around.
Yes, their bikes, their motorbikes need petrol desperately. We saw a woman who concealed petrol in a travel bag, and she was taking it to the bandits. There are women who supply them bread and other things, even soft drinks. They do not.
And would you believe it? There are women who supply them women too.
Who supply themselves. A woman not only supplied herself, but also supplied her daughter.
Crazy.
That story, that story, you see, because these guys pay a premium. They don't come into the city frequently. So all that they need, if you can guarantee that you can supply them all that they need, whether it is ammunition or they will pay you
handsomely,
and you will be happy. So for that reason, and as I always say, any line of business with a huge profit margin, Nigerians will die to get involved in it. They know that, look, supplying these guys will make them happy. Their pockets will begin to budge. So because of that, more and more people are sabotaging the efforts of the armed forces by going to supply the things that these fellows want.
Even at the risk of losing their lives.
Yes, and you know, people will feel that, okay, it's a woman, she must have escaped so many checkpoints.
Yeah.
You know, you get to a checkpoint, you smile at the policemen, they allow you go. Because they think you are a woman, you are the weaker sex. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. They are getting involved in crime. Somebody showed me the wife of, one of the wives of Tuji, Kaduna-Otitoju. Extremely beautiful young girl. Maybe between the 18 to 22.
You go for ugly woman.
No, with the phones at his disposal, phones that you can only see in your dream.
Yeah.
Of course, you will have access to the most beautiful women around.
BC, you know, women and crime, violent crime are not synonymous. But in my country, your country, they say anything is possible.
Well, I think statistically, more men still commit crime. And because I did my own PhD research on crime reportage, and I look at the demography of women versus men.
Yeah.
A lot of men are involved. But as he rightly put it, because fewer women are involved in violent crimes, the tendency for them to escape arrest or suspicion is higher.
Yeah.
For example, this woman now riding a white car, beautiful car, you wouldn't even imagine that such a person,
a pretty woman.
Yeah, I looked at a picture, not necessarily pretty,
not
but
ugly,
but at least a car.
Okay, what is pretty to you?
Okay,
what is not pretty to you may be so ravishingly pretty in his own reckoning.
Okay.
Leave my eyes alone, but go on.
So what I'm trying to say is that you see somebody in such a car, and you don't expect women ordinarily to be that debased as to...
Except watching them on films. You hardly look at an African woman, nay, Nigerian woman, handling a gun and firing.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's strange. It's strange. Yeah. But remember also that last year, in the same Kaduna, a woman in hijab was also arrested for supplying guns.
That's it.
Yeah, to terrorists and the rest. So I think we should focus more on women now, particularly in that part of the country, because if from what I read, they even go through commercial vehicles, they pack their guns inside bags and the rest, and you can just imagine, even if police have to stop commercial buses, is it the bag of women that they are likely to be searching? They won't subject them to thorough yes.
That's why Chad banned the hijab.
Okay, yeah.
You know, at the peak of their war against Boko Haram, they banned the hijab because they knew that even a man could actually wear an hijab and you will not know. We've seen people pretend to be, you know. So once you see our culture abhors ill treatment of the woman.
That's it.
When you start frisking a woman thoroughly, culturally, people will frown at it.
So, you know,
people will frown at it.
That's it.
You know, and in northern Nigeria, people do not joke with the sanctity of their women. They don't joke with the sanctity of their women. You can imagine someone seeing his wife being frisked, different parts of the body being touched and all that by a man. Of course his blood will boil. So to that extent, a lot of these women get away. They work for bandits, they work for terrorists, and they get away. Even in the Northeast, many women had been arrested, collaborators arrested for working with Boko Haram.
Based on information.
Yes. So when people do not want to believe that it's possible for a woman to go to that length of selling weapons, of funneling weapons to terrorists and all that, you are bound to allow him to get away at different checkpoints. You won't give him the attention that you give a male suspect. And that's why they are getting away with it.
BC, you know, this will open a new vista, a totally new vista now for security folks.
I think they should just pay more attention to them. But then the cultural issue, how do we handle it? Because
security, cultural?
Yes, exactly. Security, cultural, because that cultural factor is very real, particularly in the northern parts of the country. So I also think that we should embark on probably enlightenment campaigns, and maybe female police or security officers could also be included to do the search and ensure that even if you're a female person will
also, because we're living in interesting times, and in the name of security, nothing must be allowed to go under the carpet. Okay then. Basically, this talk about equality with men, I don't know how Nama woman manage more. Okay. We take a little breather now. We'll be back. Please don't go just yet. All right, welcome back. Away from Mrs. Mvo Michael, let's take you quickly to Kaduna and talk about 46 persons seized by terrorists. And this is one story. Too mind-bending for us.
It's just painful to read about the abduction of people on a daily basis. In Kaduna, a lot of those abductions don't get reported. That is the truth. There are far too many local governments that are not safe in that state, and we just need to keep working hard. If we look at the survey that was conducted year on year this problem is getting worse in Kaduna State.
Yeah.
You know?
And BC, you are wondering why Kaduna seems to be the center of attraction now for terrorists.
Honestly, one wouldn't have expected this to be, going by the way the governor, you know, came out to confront terrorists.
He dared them.
He dared them, and he even told them that he was not going to negotiate with terrorists and all of that. And we know that at the time, the state was just the hotbed for kidnapping and abduction of school children, to the extent that many boarding schools in that state have actually either closed down or relocated to other places. It was
daring of him to have one of his boys' children in school in Kaduna.
And he removed him. He removed him. He quietly removed him. And recently he told us why he did that, there were threats that the boy would be abducted, and that he
just
had
to get to him personally.
Yes, that he had to do that. Really, I thought that he could have matched his strong convictions, statements, daring moves by doing something more to prevent the state from being the hotbed of this kind of attacks. Because from what we read about the 46 persons that were kidnapped, the vigilantes were even the ones protecting that community. I know that we complain about lack of security personnel and the rest, but I also know that many state governments invest a lot in police, in other, and they tell you that that's how they spend their security votes. The Ekiti governor told us that recently. I don't know what is happening in Kaduna, and I don't know how that fund is being expended, but it's quite obvious that security penetration in local communities is not that strong. And maybe the governor may need to do more about that. Even though he has his own challenges, it doesn't manage security. It's still the national responsibility, but he can work around it.
We wish state governments Godspeed in the bid to rid the country of the menace of terrorists. All right, let's go to our next story. You know, for the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, it's crunch time. And so after a rigorous 7-hour closed-door meeting, the Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee announced March 26 as the D-Day for its national convention. Nothing would change that now. Secretary of the committee, Senator John Akpan-Odoide, announced the news. So that must be gospel. Meanwhile, we can report that with 8 days to the convention, a Federal Capital Territory FCT High Court sitting in Kubwa has this Friday vacated the order of interim injunction that barred the APC from going ahead with its plans for the exercise. And so while granting APC's application, Justice Bello Kawu held that the plaintiff lacked the locus to sustain the restraining order against the National Convention. Yes. Again, we are talking about interpretation of the law. So the court has spoken.
Yes, the judge said the indefinite suspension of the convention cannot be sustained. And he cited the Supreme Court judgment in Agwan versus APC. I'm trying to read. He said in Aguma versus APC 2021, that's 14 National Weekly Law Report, Part 1796, page 351, paragraph 406. So he said that the...
Do we remember who Aguma is?
I don't even remember. You know, the judge inciting this. I wish that we had a copy of the judgment, because I would be interested in knowing whether this matter is that similar to the Aguma. Yes, because if it's not similar, it could form the basis of another court matter. You know, the people would feel that the judge did not deliver the justice and may decide to head to another court. But I know that the INEC lawyer said that no court has the power to stop the convention of a political party. That was the argument of the INEC lawyer, because
no one individual can, through a litigation, stop what a national party has or has put down.
You know, the confusion for me is, if an individual cannot challenge a party that he belongs to, then who then can challenge the party? Because I know that if you are not part of their party, you can't bring up an action against that party. Remember the case of the people who left the Action Congress then. After the, Fashola became the candidate of the party, they left the party in annoyance and then sued the party. The court ruled that having left the party, you cannot institute a matter against
the same party.
Yes. You know, so in this case, yes, because I've read some reports saying that the judge said an individual cannot sue his party until we see exactly what the Supreme Court said in that weekly law report that the judge cited. That's when we'll know whether it's exactly this matter or just similar only to an extent. But with whatever be the case, the governor of Kaduna promised that the party will have this restraining order vacated, because he described it as a hidden nuclear weapon. And now that has happened, the convention can go ahead. The party members want to see the convention go ahead. So any obstacle on the way, on the path of the convention, members of the APC will be eager to have it removed so that the convention can proceed as planned.
Bisi, you know, these problems are man-made, and sometimes you get the impression that Nigerians have this ugly habit of not being able to manage success. You are the ruling party. Things seem to be going your way, and then you are messing it up.
Yeah, because individual interest, personal interest, seem to take over national interest. So that becomes a problem. And we see that not just in the ruling party, in our political space, we see
even
that
the opposition party, the leading opposition party,
it happens there. Yes, it's because people just want their whatever they want it. They don't subject their personal interest to the interest of the national, the overall interest of the party, of the country. It's not. It's the way we still do things here. Unfortunately, too, they get away with so many crimes because of the collaboration of the judiciary sometimes and all of that. So if we can work on our judicial system, if the rule of law, if we allow the rule of law to prevail in overall interest over.
So you know, you are looking at the rule of law and the law of rule.
Yeah.
If we can distinguish
between the two, and we allow the rule of law to prevail,
that's it.
Definitely, a lot of things will be sorted out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because obviously in this particular case, you know that it's an individual or a group thing. And because they know that the court is available to do their bidding, they just go to the court and they obtain whatever they like. So I think also that our judiciary should has a responsibility to be more careful and suspicious of.
Basically, the experts will continue to tell us that one of the underpinning requirements for a healthy democracy is respect for rule of law.
Exactly, yeah, that's just it.
And the APC to have had as many as 208 litigations prior to a national convention was something you shuddered to think about.
Yeah, and we just suggest that they are not singing from the same hymnal. If they are singing from the same hymnal, then we shouldn't be saying this kind of things.
Oh, yeah.
Some people have desires that conflict with the overall interest of the party, and some people's egos, if not well managed, will eventually bring the party down. So there are all kinds of tendencies within the party, and some of their actions are threatening the future of the party itself.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing that the order has been vacated. At least now they can focus on the business of the convention.
Yeah.
And I think that INEC too did a good job of reminding the APC that, look, laws are meant to be obeyed.
To be obeyed.
And if you fail to obey the law, then you are putting your party at risk. So sanity has been restored now. They all realize that Mai Mala Buni, no matter what they have against him, no one is saying he's a saint. By any means, no human being is a saint. No man created.
Nobody had said yet that he was a villain. Nobody had said by the same token that he's a villain.
No,
I understand what
the point that I'm making is there's no such person
as a saint
within the political family.
Yeah.
Now, but you have to realize that the law says that he is the only one for now who can sign documents going to INEC. If any document does not have his signature passing through it and you are sending it to INEC, then it's null and void. And you can't take decisions without him being carried along. Whatever decision now that anyone takes, Mai Mala Buni must own that decision.
That's it.
By saying, okay, I delegated. That's the only way that in the eyes of the law that decision can be valid.
And it's a plus for the INEC because that came in the nick of time.
Yes.
Julius, we kept Julius waiting in Ibadan. Julius, good evening. Are you there, Julius?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, sorry we kept you. Let's go.
Yes. Babajide, you're welcome back. Good evening, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And madam, good evening, ma.
Good evening.
This is Olushola Julius from Ibadan.
All right, then.
With barely a week to the National Convention of APC, I want to believe in my spirit that the coast is clear for that convention now. Now, what is left is for them to close rank among themselves, come together, allow internal democracy to work, and any other thing that will bring trouble on the 26th, they should remove it and make sure that that election, that convention holds, so that they will prove to Nigerians that what they have been calling themselves as progressive, they will portray it. And Nigerians will now repose
Thank you, Julius.
again.
We got you first time. Thank you, Julius.
No.
And it's the wish of this hangout that APC would give us something to cheer, especially convince us that there's internal democracy within a party. It's possible. Okay, to our next story. For the main opposition, People's Democratic Party, PDP, wrestling the #1 seat, the presidency, is a task too dangerous to lose. And for our former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, it is now or never. The Northeast business community purchased the PDP expression of interest and nomination forms for the former #2 man. chairman of the forum, Abubakar Funakayi, I hope I got that right, said the gesture was in fulfillment of its November 2021 promise to the Adamawa state politician. To finish first, you must first finish. We have a little background story which we wish to share with you. Please take that now.
Here to fulfill our pledge that we made on the 29th of November 2021 in Gombe, the headquarters of Gombe State, Nigeria. We invited His Excellency to Gombe State, and we called on him that if he can accept to contest for a presidential race come 2023, inshallah, that we, our entire families of Northeast business communities, that we're going to purchase form of interest and a nomination form for him free of charge.
For me, what I can promise you, whether I become a president or not, differences on either ethnicity or religion is not in my household and is not in my blood. So I want to assure all parts of this country that there will be a sense of belonging, there will be a sense of fairness, and there will be a sense of justice to every part of this country.
Yeah, being number one means you must talk like a number one.
Yes, Atiku is still interested in the presidency. The signs are there that he doesn't think that age is a barrier. He's still very much interested. And some people have shown a rare generosity by contributing 40 million naira in these difficult times to buy the form for him. They must have such unflinching trust in the Waziri to have come up with money and then to buy a foreman. It just means that the PDP presidential primaries will be very interesting once again, with people like Tambua also in the race, with the governor of Bauchi State, you know, Kauram Bauchi is also interested. Wike too appears to be interested, but we don't know whether he wants to be deputy or he wants to be president. Definitely the contest will be very interesting, just like it was interesting in 2018, and Atiku has shown everyone that he is still very much in the race. But it takes a lot more to win. Tambua has been harping on unity within the party. I may not agree with Tambua that that PDP is the party to beat. I think that APC is the party to beat. But I'm not saying that it is impossible to defeat the APC. But for the PDP to say it is the party to beat, I don't think that is right. Because when you look at how the APC is positioned, the number of states in their that they control, and the nature of our politics, you want to think that
22 states.
Yes, you want to believe that that is the party to beat. It is for that party to lose. Now, the PDP can win only if they put their house in order and mount a very effective campaign, get Nigerians to see the party as the true alternative. But a situation in which Wike is and the governor of those states, they are abusing one another like little children, you cannot, that's not how you rally or galvanize your party to win an election.
There are people who will counter that logic of yours by saying Nigerians easily forgive and they easily forget.
No, that's different when they are waging war against one another from within. If you remember how APC lost 4 states, this was the way it started. and we told them they would lose those states. They didn't listen until it happened. Nigerians may want to forgive, but you can't on your own be trying to bring down your own building.
Build your
yes,
roof.
you have to work hard. You have to convince Nigerians.
All right, BC, just before we get to you, we have a commercial break. At least let's rake in some money. We'll take a commercial break and we'll be back. Okay then, welcome back. BC, you know, while the commercial was going on, I was ruminating on what Jay said. The party to beat is the party in power. Logical, debatable.
Well, I agree with him. If you have a party controlling 22 states, and
out of 36,
you are left with 14, isn't it? Yeah. So if you are left with 14, and it's not as if your opposition has been tremendously strong. If you are still also battling with some internal problems and challenges, I don't think that confidence should be that strong for you to pronounce that PDP is the party to beat. Yeah, of course, I know that they are also probably talking because of the challenges that
APC has created for itself.
Exactly. So that's why they're saying that. But then I think PDP still has to put its acts in order. Like I said earlier on, personal interest. A lot of people having personal interest that they don't want to subject to the party interest. If they are not careful, that is what will crumble the party. Yeah, because everybody cannot become the president. And if you are not working together as a party at this stage, when election is holding in 2023, when do you now want to rally around and support and present a strong opposition?
Yeah, in this connection, I'm reminded of the statement credited to former vice president. He said, if he loses again, it will be time for the old brigade to retire.
He even said that the party that could mark the end of the PDP as a party, which still means that the party is built around personalities, which shouldn't be.
And may not be the party to beat.
Exactly.
Okay, Jide, I hear we must go.
Yeah, I wish the PDP Godspeed, as you always say. They still have a chance to mount a very strong challenge, play the role of the opposition effectively. They saw the APC do that in 2013 through 2015. So
that's it.
They still need to put their house in order before they can be sure that they will win the election. Some of these conflicts are needless.
Otherwise, anything is possible. And don't forget to finish first. You must first finish. I'm out of here, and on behalf of the Backroom Boys, and of course, BC here. BC is our sister. BC, I'm struggling to get your full name. Olabisi Deji-Folutile. No vex, I be Calabar man. I'm learning the language. But I know that he is Babajide Kolade-Otitoju. Thank you for another weekend. But don't forget to join us on Sunday for an expanded show for you, 1:30 to 3:30. There's another show of Journalist Hangout. And we are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now.